Nothing in there. No bugs. Just making sure that the FBI or the CIA or whoever wasn't following me. Hello! That was my OG2 impression. Someone called me OG3 in the comments of the other video. I thought that was hilarious. To be perfectly honest with you, I bought these glasses, sunglasses, with the intent of making a parody, the parody that I did just now, but I was intending to get more accoutrement, the hat and the dopey look on my face. But, you know, a man can only do so much. So you'll have to just live with the sunglasses alone. So why am I making this video? No, it's not just to do a terrible impersonation of OG2. It is to discuss Otto the Watchdog and his being held for 30 days for contempt by a judge. Now, I don't know a goddamn thing about why he is held. I haven't seen anything showing any decisions made by the judge. All I have is a video that was made by someone who calls themselves the real Eric Brandt that states without evidence that the judge is a butthurt. Not is butthurt, but is a butthurt. I don't know exactly what that means. That Otto was appearing on some issue with a parks violation. I don't know what that is. Could be a parking violation. I don't know. And he got contempt, and this was on September 27th. He got 30 days of contempt. Now, let's just discuss a few things. I don't know if anybody saw pictures of Mr. Brandt when he was coming out of the Colorado Supreme Court. He was wearing a shirt and tie. I will bet you a shiny nickel he was wearing shoes. The courts can and do demand decorum. The lower down the chain you go, the less decorum the court really demands, because the lower down the chain you go, the fewer stakes there are for the litigants, and the more people that just don't have the kind of money to be able to dress appropriately they have to deal with. And, you know, courts generally aren't just straight up assholes. If you don't have enough money to buy a suit and tie, they're not going to require you to wear a suit and tie. But if you have enough money to be able to afford an appeal, especially an appeal all the way up to a Supreme Court appeal, even if it is just a Colorado Supreme Court appeal, then by God and by gall, you better dress appropriately. And Eric Brandt, for whatever disagreements I have with him, understands that. Eric Brandt dressed appropriately. I'm sure he also conducted himself appropriately while he was in the gallery at the Supreme Court. I don't know if he actually sat at counsel table with the counsel, but he was present apparently. And, you know, they don't give testimony or anything at the Supreme Court level, but I'm sure he was there and conducted himself appropriately. Now, Otto is a different animal. Otto isn't as smart as Eric Brandt. I'm not saying that Eric Brandt is sane or balanced or drug-free, but he's not stupid. He's not a genius. He's not stupid. I have fewer videos watched of Otto the Watchdog. I have had fewer interactions with Otto the Watchdog. Otto the Watchdog doesn't seem to me to be a very smart man. And he has as big of a chip, if not bigger, on his shoulder than Eric Brandt. And he There was a video where they were throwing a tantrum outside of, I think it was Defend's hearing in Colorado. Maybe it was somebody else's, I don't know. But they were throwing a fit outside, and Otto was throwing the biggest of the fits. And Otto was going to show up to court in a dress and all these other things. I mean, it's just nonsense. And the court has the power to maintain decorum. You're there to have a fair hearing. You're not there to put on a show. You're not there to distract. You're not there to make an idiot out of yourself or to annoy the court. The court has the power to control the actions of people in court. They always have, always will. So contempt comes in two flavors. There is contempt that happens in front of the judge, and there's contempt that happens outside of the judge's vision, outside of the judge's awareness. If the contempt happens outside of the judge's awareness, outside of court, then you get a trial, you get due process. The prosecution has to put forward their evidence. They have to meet their burden of proof. They have to show beyond a reasonable doubt that you did in fact violate a court order and that you should be held in contempt. There's 4 basic things, at least in California, you have to prove to show contempt. That they knew the court order actually encompassed the issues that you're saying that they violated, that they had the ability to comply with the court order, and there's something else. There's 4 basic elements. I don't remember them all off the top of my head because I'm not dealing with a contempt right now. And I don't have to know them all off the top of my head. But anyway, if it happens in front of the judge, and the judge sees the violation of his order, observes it, hears it, sees it, feels it, like if you slap the judge, well, you just fucking committed contempt, whether he saw it or not. I mean, it's just one of those things where if you do it in front of the judge is the finder of fact on contempt. It's not a jury, it's the judge finds you. The judge would be the one who finds you in contempt. And if you do it in front of the judge, he's already seen all the proof. He witnessed it. People don't have to show him what he witnessed and called him as a witness to the thing he witnessed. He witnessed it. He's the finder of fact. Done. So the question becomes, was the judge butthurt? Probably not. The judge probably doesn't really care what Otto says outside of the judge's presence, but the judge has a job to do. And that judge's job is to get through the hearings for the day and to be able to render verdicts on them or render judgments on them or write orders on them, whatever the hearing requires. And if you're acting like an ass and you're slowing things down for everybody else, because you're probably not the only hearing that judge has for the day. They pack him in like sardines typically. And if the judge isn't dealing with your dumbass in court, the judge probably has to read a bunch of stuff in chambers for other cases, for other hearings. So the judge's time is valuable, and he has no need to let you waste it. It's not a matter of butthurt. It's a matter of he's going to do his job, and he's not going to let you stop him. So it's probably not a matter of butthurt. But again, without a video, we can't be sure. I have a feeling it's not butthurt, though, just from my experience with judges. Now, there's a call flood, and they not only want you to call the judge, but they want you to call all the other courtrooms. Now, here's the way that's going to shake down. Number one, you're not going to talk to the judge. You just aren't. You're going to talk to the court clerk, a court clerk. And that court clerk doesn't have any power over the judge. They can't take your complaint about the judge, if they are taking your complaint about the judge, they're writing it down on a piece of paper, and maybe they'll hand it to the judge, maybe they won't. It's fucking meaningless. If the judge is an elected judge, I'm not sure what the issue is. I don't know. I mean, if it's a federal judge, he's appointed. If it's a state judge, probably elected, not entirely sure. But if it is an elected judge, then maybe you want to run against him at the next election, if you're qualified. Or maybe you could just put up propaganda about judges. I have found, though, that there's not a lot of competition to be judges, because number one, you have to meet certain requirements, and typically there's two kinds of people. There's people who are successful in their law practice who meet those kinds of requirements, and they're like, fuck it, why would I take a pay cut to be a judge? And two, there's people who are unsuccessful in their law practice, but they've still managed to stick it out long enough to meet the requirements to be a judge. Congratulations. You're now a judge. Enjoy making $80,000 to $100,000 a year. Brand new associates make $80,000 to $100,000 a year. But hey, you know. Anyway. So is the call flood going to make one fucking lick of difference? No. You're just going to be wasting taxpayer resources. Congratulations. And I'm going to assume that people are going to get in trouble over it. You got to remember, the last time there was a call flood, I think it was Judge PV or something like that in Texas. Some dude ended up getting shot and arrested by U.S. Marshals, I think, in Oklahoma over that. So, can't wait to see who gets shot and arrested this time. Anyway, I've chewed your ear long enough about this. It's probably not what Eric's saying it is, but even if it is, the call flood isn't the way to handle it. Otto's attorney should file writ and seek a review by a higher court of the judge's actions if Otto's attorney thinks that there is some sort of impropriety by the judge. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.